Next is our public hearing to adjust the boundary line between Warren and Clarke counties in the Shenandoah Farms area.
So, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this is a request of the Board of Supervisors to consider a boundary adjustment to the Warren-Clarke County line in the Shenandoah Farms area. The county has been aware of concerns about the boundary line for a number of years. The boundary line between the two counties was approved initially as a straight line, but there was a portion of the farms that kind of jutted or stuck out into Clarke on our tax maps. The issue was raised when we were looking to construct the Old Oak Lane Phase 1 Rural Addition project. A further concern was raised in 2018 via the Virginia Department of Elections regarding precinct lines around the state. The area in question, this location affected the congressional districts, since Warren County votes in the 6th and Clarke County now in the 10th district. Warren County staff contacted Clarke County to evaluate the GIS data relative to the county boundary lines and associated property lines. Ultimately determined that Clarke would engage done land surveys of Berryville to survey the line for Warren and Clarke to determine where the county line was in reference to the parcels that are thought to be in Warren and Clarke counties. It was discovered that parcels were subdivided and recorded in Warren County, primarily in the Shenandoah Farm subdivision, and have been taxed in Warren County. Kids have gone to school in Warren County, and yet they're actually located in Clarke. In talking with representatives from Clarke, we wanted to look at a boundary adjustment to clean up the boundary line between the two counties, place property owners in the county they thought they were in, where they were paying taxes, where they voted, and where their children attended school. A community meeting was held August 29th, 2019, the Company 6 Fire Department Auxiliary Building to review the situation with landowners. Following discussions during that meeting, a proposed adjustment to the line was developed to bring those that thought they were located in Warren and were currently paying taxes in Warren into Warren County. In addition, it was decided to include in the draft to propose adjusting the Company 6 Fire Department buildings and the property owner's Shenandoah Farms office into Warren County, since the primary dealings were in Warren County. The procedure for a voluntary boundary adjustment between the two counties with no conditions is attached. It's for each county to hold a public hearing on the proposed boundary line adjustment agreement. Then, if approved by both counties, a petition is to be filed in either circuit court or approved by court order. If the court enters the order, copies are sent to each county and to the Secretary of the Commonwealth. Mr. Ham has prepared a proposed boundary line adjustment agreement. It's included for your review, as well as the plat of the subject properties. As part of the public hearing process, the county mailed letters to the affected property owners, in addition to publishing the required legal ad. The Clarke County Board of Supervisors held a public hearing earlier today and unanimously approved the request. Now it takes the action of this body to formalize it. And I've got a little quick PowerPoint to go over. So when I was referencing the straight line, this is 34522, straight line to the top of Blue Mountain, up off of Freeswood Road, right past, I guess, where it turns into Blue Mountain Road going down. The yellow portion of the line is what we really looked at. This part is straight, and the adjustments of this area right in here is try to straighten it up. Now, I would note, Mr. Don Rapici owns some property there right at the county line. His island was actually split, and what we're showing now is taking the entire island into Warren County. This is the section back on 34522. The line remains straight as it always has been since the General Assembly approved it in 1836. Coming down, still stays straight till you get up here close to the river. This is the Milldale Road area. As it comes into across the river, from that point is where you see the first adjustment, take in part of Mr. Peachy's Island, and then it comes down and follows the back of these lot lines. These are lots that were platted in Clarke. It follows the back of those lot lines because the back, quarter, 20% of those lots was in Warren. The rest of it, all the taxes were being paid in Clarke. This is where the fire department's located and also the POS office. So the line jogs around those, comes up to this road. And Mr. Childress is not in here, but I think that's Shenandoah Valley Road, Shenandoah River
River Lane.
River Lane, Shenandoah River Lane? Okay. Comes back out to Houseville Road, comes back along these lots, back out to, help me Bob, Manor Drive, and back in where Old Oak is, follows the back of the lots and the farms, comes back up here, picks one landowner up, and then runs the true existing line back up to the top of the mountain. So the most affected property owners, there's about a dozen or so lots in this area right here that folks, the lots were platted in Warren, people paid tax in Warren, people had voted in Warren, their kids have gone to school in Warren, they've been in Clarke County the whole time. So again, the issue arose, first time we were aware of it was back on the Old Oak Lane Rural Addition project. We had to actually get a resolution passed by the Clarke board, right Bob, for reference to that project. Further concerns raised in 2018. Some people at the last minute were moved from one county to the next because to make the voting location for the correct congressional district. And Clarke County again hired Dunland Surveys to complete the survey. We're paying half of that. And the proposed fix would move those folks back into Warren for the most part. And some of those Clarke County lots put all the lot into Clarke. And as I mentioned, we held a public meeting last year. It's taken us this long to be able to get the surveyor to make all the changes and get everything laid out on the plats. Once this is approved, in addition to recording in the courthouse, the surveyor is required to plant permanent monuments along the line so that 300 years from now, if somebody goes looking for it, they'll find the monuments actually out there in the ground. And as I mentioned, Clarke County held their public hearing earlier today and approved the request. That's it. I'm happy to answer any questions, again, either before or after the public hearing, Mr. Chairman.
Would anyone like to speak upon this?
Microphone.
Microphone.
Please.
Mr. Srirachi, has anyone signed up to speak?
No one has signed up, Mr. Chairman.
Is there anyone that would like to speak?
You would open to a public hearing?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
I'd like to open up the public hearing.
may I speak to the boundary rearrangement?
Yes, sir. Please come forward, your name and address, please.
Well, thank you. I'm Dominic Rapici, and I first want to say thank you for giving me back half my island. I've 99% support this whole rearrangement. It's been a benefit to me and to the board, representatives, and Mr. Stanley and the Clarke County people were very, very helpful. In looking at the question I have is really a question. In looking at the maps that were sent to us, the boundary arrangements look very clear. The island that I have, the new boundary, completely puts the island back into Warren County. In the process, this may be a function of poor eyesight, but I could not determine on the maps that were sent whether there's an adjoining island. My island ends, and then there's another island which has always been completely in Clarke County. And I happen also to own that island, so I have an interest in it. And the boundary looks like it clips the corner of that island and puts it into Warren County. I don't know that serves any interest to do that. The river itself has cut a trench that separates both islands. If you follow the trench, which floods in high times, now it's just a ditch at this point. If you follow the way the ditch is, it would determine where the river has established the difference between the two islands. Using a straight line inserts a little section of the Clarke County island into Warren County. I suspect there's no impact this generation. I don't intend to sell those islands, so that I would always been taxed on that island in Clarke County. So I don't know whether I'm raising a problem without a distinction, as they say, but I did want to make mention to the board that I don't want to repeat the whole thing in some future generation, especially if they put down markers and the marker decides to take a little piece of the Clarke County island and put it in Warren County. It's indifferent to me. I raise this as a point of public interest. I own both of those and I'm happy with it. It's a beautiful piece. I want to, first of all, in return and say thank you for the staff and the people who have done that. It was no problem whatsoever as far as I was concerned. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. If you have any response or any questions, I'll be glad to answer those. Thank you.
Mr. Stanley, do you think that is going to cause any problem whatsoever?
I don't. I think I think both counties, the desire was to have a nice, neat, straight corner. The reality is the little trenches and things, they change over the years. You know, that line's been there for 150 plus years. So Mother Nature is going to resculpt and change the island. So they want where the county points meet, two straight lines, try to be as kind of true and identified as possible. And so you avoid trying to follow a stream or a ditch, which the next flood could move. So I think that's one of the things we found out is some of the landmarks from 150 some years ago are different now because Mother Nature has changed the location. But we were well aware of that. Mr. Rapici is the one that came to the hearing. He said, I would like this island in Warren, and we did what we could with Clarke to try to make sure that happened for him. So,
Well, thank you.
the result is a little sliver of the second island in Clarke, but
It's small.
it's small.
It's small. But thank you, because in my original case, it literally divided the property into two pieces. So I have no objection. Thank you, folks.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Tom Sayer, 835 Shenandoah Shores Road, West Virginia. I just wanted to say I hope that you all pass this. And I noticed in the presentation it said in 2018, I surmise that might have been me that brought that issue up. Because back in 2015, I was going down Howesville Road, and there was a sign that says Warren County ends and Clarke County begins. And there was people on the voters list going on down the houses into Clarke County, and I'm like, something's not right here. And then afterwards, I got with Doug and the county attorney and people and said, this has got to be fixed. So this is the best appears we can do, and I hope you all pass it. Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Final call. This public hearing is now closed. What is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Stanley, I have to ask the question. So that would put the Shenandoah Farms Fire Department in Warren County. Are they still going to run calls in Clarke?
They are. And we still, and I confirmed today, Clarke County, every year since we took over management, they've given us $25,000 a year in donations. They need us as much as more than we need them from the standpoint of they don't have any coverage in that area. Mutual aid dictates that we'll run calls anyway, but it's nice to have a contribution from them. Obviously, maybe in the long term we could get that increase. We're certainly putting out a lot of resources covering the station 24/7. But the reality is, I don't remember the exact split, but probably like 92% of all the lots in Shenandoah Farms are on the Warren side, not on the Clarke side. So we've got the bulk of the population, but we do appreciate the support of Clarke County. But it makes sense. We're running the fire station and POSF, most of their lot and land and stuff is in Warren. So that's why they made the request, and that's why we both parties, both counties acquiesced and include that in the proposal.
What is the pleasure of the board?
Okay, I'll make the motion. I move the Board of Supervisors approve the attached resolution to adjust the boundary lines between Warren and Clarke County in the Shenandoah Farms area as outlined. I further move that Warren County Administrator and County Attorney be authorized to execute all necessary documents to record the changes in the clerk's office of Warren and Clarke counties.
I'll second it.
Judy?
Okay, so,
And then discussion.
Sure.
Just, and I think you kind of touched on it anyway, but basically, we're taking people who went to school in Warren County, whatever, we're just making them legal Warren County residents, which that's what I thought. But the other thing too is, when would this be finalized? And I know you touched on it too. Will this be finalized in time for the November election?
Yeah, I'm going to North Carolina as soon as this meeting's over, but my partner Jason Watkins, the moment y'all vote in favor of this, I'm going to email him and tell him to get filing tomorrow morning. So yes, we're aware that there is a tight turnaround for this, and we'll petition the court and make phone calls as necessary to make sure that order is entered in a timely fashion.
Thank you.
Any other questions, concerns? Mrs. Shiraki, could we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Fox?
Aye.
Ms. Colors? Aye. Mr. Sherman?
Aye.
Ms. Oates? Aye. Mr. Carter?
Aye.